Hello, everyone. Here we are again, and I'm happy to be with you and happy that you joined me. Today, we are going to look at some blue inks, and we're going to take the range of inks from the more purple blues to the more getting towards the more turquoise or aqua blues. I don't have a good name for those, for that range. I wish there was something simple, but um, as far as I know, there's no collective name for that end of the range, but I'll see if I can come up with something. So today we are going to look at the main darker blues and medium blues that are still on the more blue side and less on the turquoise side. And I'm hoping I can highlight some of the inks that you may not have seen before and that would be new to you, and to give you an idea of the really spectacular wealth of inks that we have in the blue range. Okay, so just to go quickly through my little cards here, my cheating cards to arrange colors in an order of hue in my idea of the order. First, very purple, on the very purple side, Krishna Mellow Blue. Ackerman's Delftsblau, which is a very handsome color. And we'll go through some of these, not all of them. We just won't have time. I'll be judicious about which ones to select. Iroshizuku Asagao, which is also very, very, a very, very nice ink. The notorious Noodler's Bay State Blue, which I think is definitely something we should look at and we'll talk a little bit about. Diamine's Sargasso Sea, which is a very nice dark blue. Noodler's Liberty's Elysium, which is a very, just a clean, clear, basic medium blue. Diamine's Blue Velvet, which is also a very nice ink. Private Reserve, American Blue. That's another very nice one. On the lighter side of the really medium blue range, Diamine Royal Blue, and Iroshizuku's Tsuyukuza, which are very just as medium and in the middle of the range as you could hope for. Moving a little more to the other end of the blues, Diamine Skull and Roses, which is a famous sheener, super sheener, as we will see perhaps. Private Reserve's DC Super Show Blue, it's super saturated. It is Super Show and super saturated, which I think some of you may enjoy very well. Organic Studios Nitrogen, amongst the most of the famous super sheeners. Iroshizuku's Konpeki, which is just a sky blue. It's their sky blue. Very, very nice. A sapphire, we'll say. Capri Blue by Monteverde, which is also a very nice ink. And then the last in this area, or as far as I want to go within this area, is the KWZ or KUZ Azure number 4. And this is where we're starting to get a little more into the turquoise range, and that's where I'm going to stop today. And I promise a video that on the turquoise aqua blue range. All right, so let's begin with the really purple blues. And we'll start with Krishna Mellow Blue. I don't have that loaded up into a pen. Oh, come on. All right, let's not be badly behaved, please. Okay, and this is definitely a more purple blue. So we'll start here. Mellow blue. And to be honest, I'm not sure if some of these Krishna inks are still available. I haven't checked lately, but I know that, oops, let's try getting that a little bit more saturated. Yeah. And it's, since it's a I believe a one-person show, and so I'm not sure if they're still in business and if they're still shipping to the United States. So I'll have to check on that to see if any of these Krishna inks are available. I like them very well. They're really exciting colors. They're really exciting inks, some with some just amazing properties, either shading or sheen, and in some cases the colors are distinctive because there's a play of multiple colors in the ink. But that being said, let's go on to Ackerman's Delftsblau, which is a very, very nice blurple. We call it, I'll call it a blurple, following the example of my good friend Amber Lee, who calls these inks blurples. Oh, this bottle has left a little bit of a mark. All right, I do have this loaded in a pen. Aha. So let's get to that. All right, so I have it in an Edison Collier pen with a broad nib. I like broad nibs. They suit my handwriting best. So I'm hoping not to cause more difficulty here. So this is this ink is clearly meant to be an ink color that matches the blue of Delft, China, and China. The blue and white ceramic or fine china that you get from Delft in the Netherlands, and that blue is really quite a good imitation, or a good example of that color. It really, really captures it nicely. I like that very well. Okay, we'll skip Asagao. It is an ink that, there we go. Let's see if I can capture that. It is, as you can see, by at least their rendering of it, a purple blue, or a blue on the purple side of the range. And let's talk about Bay State Blue. It is, it has a reputation, we'll say. It is a somewhat difficult ink. It is not an ink you want to spill. Let me be quite clear about that. It is a saturated, spectacular blue. There's no two ways about it. It is one of the most beautiful blues. However, it does come with some caveats, we'll say, that there are things that you need to be aware of. So this is Bay State. It tends to be a rather dry ink. At least that's been my experience with it. Sometimes if it sits, and it won't start real easily. And it is a little bit stubborn in terms of getting it, getting it out of a pen and cleaning it. My thoughts are, there's no ink that I know of that is this color. This is the only one. It's a color that isn't easily categorized. It's just so vivid and so brilliant, and there's nothing like it. So we'll put it that way. If you're daring and if you want to take a little extra trouble and a little extra time, and being a little more careful and being judicious about which pen you put it in, I think that it's definitely worth the trouble. That is, I wouldn't say that about other Noodler's inks, but that one I will say. You can't find this anywhere else. This is really unique. So let me then go to let's try the Diamine Sargasso. Okay, let's do that one now. Sargasso is getting more into the middle of the blue range, but it is very dark and very saturated, and surprisingly similar to Bay State, but it's not as bright. The Bay State has a brightness to it, and this is deep and kind of moody, which I like too. So that's Sargasso. It is, you can kind of imagine the deep blue sea, from hence the name. And this is a Diamine. Sargasso C. Well, come on. Yeah. All right, and I have that in a fun Zizo pen with what I believe is abalone or some shell. Anyway, it's very pretty. I like it a lot. And the nib is nice. It's a little stiff, but it works for me. So that's the Sargasso, deep blue. Okay, deep blue sea. In a similar vein, Blue Velvet is another one that kind of a deep medium blue in terms of the hue. And so speaking of the color itself, right? Okay. An ink that I have liked for quite a long time is Private Reserve American Blue. And I know Private Reserve has had some changes, and they've gone through quite a lot of different business issues and ownership and distribution and all that kind of stuff. And I believe they are back in business as they were starting in the 90s. I remember getting Private Reserve inks back in the 90s from a pen shop here in Indianapolis. And this is a blue that I think of as the blue of the American flag, which is probably darker like Sargasso. But this is the blue that I think of when I think of American blue. This one I definitely, that's the color that comes to mind. All right. And this blue is, it's just a very, it's a great medium blue. So, all right. So this is, oh, I did it again. All right. So there's that. And of course, in the dip nibs with this C4 dip nib, it definitely does look a little bit darker than it would in a regular pen, but that's how it goes. Okay. So a couple more, and I'm going to get a fresh sheet and that go waste basket. Let's see. If you're looking for a blue that kind of takes you back to school days, that kind of blue ink that us old boomers remember from school, it's kind of that fairly pale but just medium blue that you know, it was in ballpoint pens when we were growing up. This is pretty much that blue, and this is Tsuyukuza, and I'll show you the bottle after I cap it. And this is Iroshizuku. Okay, the quantity of ink and this nib between the two, it comes out darker than it normally does in a regular fountain pen. So you have to keep that in mind. And this is Tsuyo Kuza. As the ink gets less and less in the pen, it does brighten up a little bit. And this is just, this is one of those blues it's not on the purple side, it's not on the turquoise side, it's just blue, just a simple, plain blue. And it's sometimes nice to have, you know, a very simple color rather than the really complicated options that some of these inks offer. All right, shall we go to a super sheener? Sure. Let's see, which one? Skull and Roses or DC Super Show? Let's see. I don't know how many people have access to private reserve inks. And so this might be something to look for if you haven't. There, as I mentioned before, it's I think things are stable with this company, and so definitely worth taking a look at. Okay, and I don't have that in a pen, so I'm going to have to use dip. Okay, so all right, so this is that reserve, which I believe began very near to where I am right now. In Zionsville, Indiana is where I believe it began, and it was an ink for a pen shop up there in Zionsville. But at any rate, okay, DC Super Show. R is terrible. And that's just a super nice, rich blue ink. Nothing spectacular. There's no sheen. Well, I shouldn't say no sheen. There's not. The sheen is not the attraction, and so that's how that looks. But it is a really nice, saturated, bright, fairly bright blue. And let's see. Okay, let's do Capri, Monteverde. I haven't done a Monteverde ink so far. And the Capri blue by Monteverde, I like very well. This is still what I would consider kind of a sea blue, sky, not sky blue exactly. Sky blue suggests something very light. This is not light. It does. It is on that. It's moving towards. I can speak. It is moving towards that kind of the blue where it starts to become more aqua or turquoise. And so this is the last one I would put in this category. All right, so there we are. So I'm going to do Monteverde, Capri, bleu. Okay. And this is a nice surprise. I've liked quite a number of the Monteverde inks, and this one I hadn't gotten until fairly late, recently, we'll say, and I like it very well.